In this video, I'm going to go through every book that I got in the final month of 2020. I've got some omnibuses, some oversized hardcovers, and I even got one major whale as a Christmas gift, which is... Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog, and we're back with the first video of 2021. I hope you all had a great Christmas, a great new year. I know that I had quite a quiet one with family, even if it was that I drunk messaged quite a few other comic book YouTubers. But before we jump into the haul, of course we have to do the Mad Dog Comic Haul competition. And we actually got the largest number of entries that we've had since I've started this. First up, we've got a picture from my boy Avishek, who sent 3 omnibuses that he got as part of his Christmas bonus. And I know he lives in India, and apparently as difficult as it's been for us in the UK to get omnibuses, apparently it's 100 times worse over there. But he made up for it by having 3 great books. So he's got the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe omnibus, he's got the Injustice omnibus volume 1, and he says that volume 2's on its way. And as well he's got Aquaman by Jeff Johns, which is a great run. I did a review of it a few weeks ago. So you've got some great reading there, and hopefully this year just means that you're going to get more omnibuses. This next one got sent in literally as I was filming last month's haul, and it's from Aled Likes Comics. He's got a bumper load of books here, so I can see Lazarus in the back. I think that's the 3rd collection. Hopefully you've got the other 2 as well. He's got some Pokemon Funko Pops, he's got the Power Rangers Beyond the Grid Deluxe Edition, and then he got 2 more books that are kind of whales. So he got the Loki Omnibus, and he also got Hawkeye by Matt Fraction. He's also got Incorruptible there, so I'm glad that you managed to get that before the craziness started. And it looks like he's got some epic collections as well, so that's a great haul, and thank you for sending it in. We can't do the Mad Dog Comic Haul competition if we haven't got an entry from Zoom Comics. He's been watching the show from day one, and he's been a great supporter. He's always got just the cutest dog in his pictures as well. But he's also got some great books, so he's got one of the Aliens Deluxe Editions, I think that might be volume 2. He's got the Spider-Man by Eric Larson omnibus, which is something even I'm tempted to pick up. He's got a cute Baby Yoda Funko Pop, which is only the 2nd cutest thing in the picture compared to his dog. He's got the Flash by Francis Manapul omnibus, and it looks like he's got the single issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think that might be issue 8. It's the one where Barry Allen dies. Spoilers for a story about 35 years old. So that's a great haul, and I hope you enjoy your books. Then we've got a haul from Father and Son Comics, and there's just some great books from start to finish here. He starts it off with Batman by Grant Morrison volume 3. He's got the Flash by Jeff Johns omnibus volume 1, and hopefully you're looking forward to volume 2 like I am. He's got 2 copies of the Super Sons Expanded Edition, and I asked him why, and he said it's one for him and one for his son as well, which I think's really sweet. Superman Man of Steel by John Byrne, Excalibur volume 1, and it looks like that's the direct market variant. Both Firefly Deluxe Editions, and the 2nd compendium of Invincible. After you read Invincible as well, you might want to check out my top 15 favourite fights from it. But that is a great haul. You've got some great omnibuses in there. Thank you for sending that in. Then we've got the man himself, Dano's Comics. Make sure you check out his channel because he's always doing full videos of his hauls. But he's got some Vinland Saga, which I don't know if that's something I need to pick up. He's got Harleen, he's got Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Again, we can see Aquaman by Jeff Johns in there. I've seen this book have a bit of a resurgence, and more people are getting it into the haul, so hopefully my video dropped at the right time. As well, again, I can see Lazarus in there, the 3rd collection. The last 2 volumes are Nailbiter, which is great because the 3rd one's really difficult to get at the moment. He's got the TMNT IDW collection, and also it looks like he's got every trade paperback for Civil War. That's an event that I wish they'd go back and do an omnibus for. I couldn't be bothered to get that box set, but that is a great haul. You've got a good mix of manga, IDW, Marvel, so I really hope you enjoy your reading there, and thank you for sending it in. The most recent submission is from Comic Book Library, and I can see here as well he's got the Super Sons Expanded Edition. He's got the Justice League Unwrapped by Jim Lee, which is those books where you get to see all the pencils, and I'm really tempted to start picking them up. He's got the Star Wars Canon oversized hardcover. I'm not sure if that's something I need to pick up, if it's useful for the like Star Wars by Jason Aaron run. And he's got an assortment of trade paperbacks, so I can see some Green Lantern, some Injustice. You've got a great stack of books there, and it looks like you've also got like a Spider-Man art book, which I'm a massive fan of art books, so I might have to have a look at that myself. And lastly for this month, we've got my boy, it's Comic Bound. If you haven't already, make sure that you check out his channel. Again, he's got the Super Sons Expanded Edition. I did do a video on that book on if it's something that you should upgrade to or not, but it seems like it's making it into most people's hauls this month. He's got the Uncanny X-Men volume 2, which I know he did a video on, the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus reprint, an amazing array of Funko Pops. I didn't even know that they did a Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. Absolute Swamp Thing, Absolute Kingdom Come. He's got a few Image oversized hardcovers, but the one that I'm really impressed with is the Complete Luther Strode. Well done on that one. I know that that's really difficult to get. So thank you for everybody who submitted images as part of the Mad Dog Comic Haul competition. If you're interested in entering something for next month, I'm going to leave the details at the end of the video. Getting into the haul, at the beginning of this month, there was a few books that I wanted to pick up because I was worried that I'd forget that they existed. The first of which was the trade paperback of DMZ Volume 3. These are the much thicker ones. There was 5 of them in total. I've already got volumes 1, 2 and 4. One was the most difficult one to get at one point, so now I only need volume 5 to complete the collection, and you know that probably means that it's going to go out of print. I love this series. It was one of the first Vertigo titles that I really read. It's kind of a bit eerie now because obviously it's about towns being shut down and obviously the things that went on with the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It's kind of a bit eerily similar to what happens in this book. But this is a great read by Brian Wood. He also did Northlanders, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, I'd recommend picking this one up because they are doing compendiums for this, which is going to be much easier, and obviously they didn't announce those compendiums until it was that I started buying these trade paperbacks, but still that's the way I'd recommend about collecting it. A book from my girlfriend that I couldn't actually remember if I featured this in a previous haul, but I got Blacksad volumes 1 and 3, but then I completely forgot that I didn't get a volume 2, so I decided to pick up Blacksad of Silent Hill. She read this in pretty much one go. I also got the PS4 game and it's not as buggy as when it was originally released, so I'm glad that she's managed to complete this set for herself. I'm slowly easing her in to collecting comics because then it's going to save on my hauls. But this is probably one of the best examples of European comics. I'm looking to read this myself, and if that's something that you want to see on this channel, just let me know. But yeah, it just feels good to be able to complete another set. But as soon as one set's ended, another one has to begin, so that is the reason why I bought the Fables Compendium Volume 1. If I'm being perfectly honest and I didn't know whether to do a video on this feels like a very flimsy book. I know I paid pretty much less than £30 for it, so I should be happy with the value for money that you're getting, because there is, I believe, 41 issues in this, and there's some other tie-ins and stuff like that. But still, compared to like an Image compendium or something like that, it doesn't feel like this is going to last very long. As much as we complain about the price of omnibuses, at least they feel like they're built to last. But when I think about the 15 or so deluxe editions that they brought out for this series, it's going to be much easier to just collect it in the 4 or so compendiums that they're going to do. I've wanted to read Fables for a while. It's pretty much the premier Vertigo series when you talk to people, so I'm glad that they're doing it in a different format so that it's easy for people to buy. The first omnibus that I picked up was one that I was really excited to get. It actually made it onto my most anticipated omnibuses about 6 or so months ago, and that is Batman Road to No Man's Land. Speedy Hen didn't follow through with the deal that they had on the website, but I saw this for quite a good price. It was about 45% off on Amazon Spain, and because of the fact that this is probably my favourite comic book event of all time, I needed to make sure that I got this. I'm praying that DC does follow through with the No Man's Land omnibus that's promised at the end of this one, but I actually never read the prelude to this. I've only read the main event, so this is pretty much the part of the story that I've never actually seen. But this is a great Batman omnibus. I'm not too happy about the logo. Why have they used pretty much the new 52 Batman logo? Because this came out in the 90s. That doesn't really make too much sense with me, and I hope that they have the kind of classic 90s Batman logo when they get to the 2 main omnibuses. But still, considering that I thought this was going to be one of the omnibuses that got on the chopping block, I'm just glad that I've got it in my collection. One that I was excited to see, but I got the feeling that if I didn't pick it up this month, I'd probably end up forgetting it existed, is the Firefly Legacy Deluxe Edition. Firefly is a series that I probably haven't seen in about 6 or so years, but I remember really enjoying it. Someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like a compilation of stories that are set in that universe, and then the Unification War is like the follow-up to the actual TV show. Either way, this is from Boom Studios, so it's a very well put together book. You've got gold embedding all over it. It's got a beautiful design, and it just feels like it's put together really well. But if there's one thing that I've learned from the Power Rangers Deluxe Editions, it's that Boom Studios is not afraid to let books go out of print. So I knew I needed to pick this one up sooner rather than later, and I know that the Unification was probably going to follow. And some of you may already know that I do another series called Whale Watch where I look at books that are going to go out of print and stuff like that, but honestly that is the worst thing for my wallet. Every time I do Whale Watch, I end up buying into my own fear of missing out, so of course the next book that I brought was the Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 1. There's been reprints announced for Volume 2 and Volume 3, with an upcoming Volume 4 to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Fantastic Four. Of course I noticed that stock of this book was going a little bit weary here and there, and I didn't know if that Marvel was aware of that so that they could print more copies in time for the reprints. So I got this for a pretty decent price of about £50, and it looked like Amazon was the last place that actually had it at the time that I brought it. I am intending to get all 4 volumes and doing a full read through of the original Fantastic Four run to see if it holds up to date as a modern reader. Zoom said that this is still pretty enjoyable, so I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time I have heard mixed things. But this is pretty much the foundation of the modern Marvel universe, so of course you've got Doctor Doom being introduced. You've got Namor, the Super Skrull, and as it goes on you've got Galactus, the Silver Surfer, Black Panther, the Inhumans. There's just so much important storytelling that came from this run, so even if it is that I might not eventually enjoy it when I eventually get around to reading it, I have to at least give it the respect it deserves to pick it up and give it a try. Then with Christmas time coming up, I decided that as I'd done Christmas shopping for my entire family, I'd treat myself to a few books that I'd been eyeing up. The first of which was probably my most wanted because I knew I needed this in my collection, and that is the Power Rangers Beyond the Grid Deluxe Edition. This is when I stopped reading the single issues, and obviously the writer changed, it wasn't Kyle Higgins anymore, and yet this ragtag team of other Power Rangers, so you had Andros, you had Zeo Yellow, you had the Ranger Slayer, Corona, and there was a few others thrown into the mix as well. Yeah, this deluxe edition is a little bit thinner than the 3 that came before it, but I'm excited that now that I've got this in my collection, I can finally catch up on where I'd left off, and it's going to get more confusing from here because there's about 8 or so independent Power Rangers titles that are all ongoing. Then I was very fortunate to see that a book that had previously been out of stock on Forbidden Planet had come back in stock, and I knew that I just needed to get it. This book's been out since about October, September time, so the fact that it hadn't come across at all here to the UK at either Amazon or Books etc or anything like that just made it necessary for me to finally buy The Incredible Hulk by Peter David Volume 2. I went with the standard cover, and honestly I love both the standard and the direct market variant. This was the only one that they had in stock, but at the same time I'm still happy with it. With Volume 3 though, I knew I needed to go with that direct market variant because that original cover just isn't for me. I'm assuming there's going to be about 4 or so omnibuses of this, so I am waiting until they're all out, and obviously I know that some people don't like that they think that you're sitting on books, but if at the time that that 4th volume comes out the other 3 are out of print, then I'm not really going to buy any of them, and I might miss out on a series that I really enjoy. I know that at some point I will read it when I can just read it all in one go, but for now I do kind of have to stockpile these so that I can just make sure that I don't miss out if any of them go out of print. Like look what happened with Volume 1, it's just the way that we've got to adapt to these situations. Now before we get into the second leg of this video, I just want to ask that if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up because it does really help the algorithm, and obviously being a smaller channel with bigger ambitions, it is important that YouTube knows that I'm not completely hated on here, and if you're new to the channel and this is the first time, you couldn't have jumped on at a better point. I'd recommend clicking that subscribe button and clicking the bell notification so that you never miss a video. I've also got my social media links up there, and we've also got a Reddit page which is r/MadDogComicCommunity. It's a really cool place where you can chill out, talk about books, share any links that you want, so I'd recommend joining us on there. But anyway, on with the haul. Then I picked up an Image Deluxe Edition which I knew I had to get because I was trying to round out this set. That is Revival Volume 4. I'm still missing Volume 3, but these don't really go too much beneath cover price, especially here in the UK. This one went to about 35% off, which is the best that I've seen it in a while. Normally it's only about 10 or so percent. So pick this one up, even though that I knew that it'd mean that there's going to be a gap in my collection, but now it's probably going to inspire me to get that Volume 3 next month. Or like I said with DMZ, that's probably going to be the one that goes out of print. I don't know too much about this series. It seems like it's got a horror vibe. It says horror on the back, and I don't know if I said this when I showed Volumes 1 and 2, but I like that the cover and the back cover are sort of mirror images of one another, so obviously you can see that she's holding someone's hand there, but it's obviously the character that's on the front cover. I just really like when books do stuff like that. It's great attention to detail. But honestly, this might be something that I save till about Halloween next year, but I just thought it was important that I make sure that I get this series whilst I still can. If that's something that you want to see in October and you're still planning on sticking around for then, just let me know. Another one that I'd slept on for a while and I knew that it was quite difficult to get, especially here in the UK, was Strangers in Paradise Volume 25. I haven't done Roman numerals for years, so I'm hoping that that is 25. I can't really be bothered to check at the moment, but I loved Strangers in Paradise. I ended up having the paperback omnibus, but then feeling the need to upgrade to the hardcover when it came out again. I just loved the story of Francine and Kachu and the journey that they went on, and the fact that we can get more of that means that I had to pick this up. I know that the stuff at Abstract Studios goes very weird with its print runs, so the omnibus of the original Strangers in Paradise went out of print for about 10 or so years, but now it seems like it's still back in stock. Then you've got something like Rachel Rising, which has just completely disappeared if you want the hardcover. So I saw that this was at Read Comics, and I knew that I'd already slept on it for too long, and I knew that I'd missed my chance if I didn't get it now, so I'm just glad that this is in my collection. But I didn't just order one book off Read Comics. I knew that obviously they combine postage costs, which is the worst thing that a company can do for me, because obviously it just means that I'm going to buy more. And by chance, they just happen to have the Batman by Paul Dini omnibus in stock. If you are in the UK, even if you're in the US, you know how out of print this is at the minute. We haven't had confirmation that any more copies are coming across. I assume that DC might be planning to do that at some point, but for some reason the fact that I was already paying postage on that Strangers in Paradise book just meant that I had to pick this up. Did I get it for the cost that I would have done if I waited for something like Books etc or somewhere like that to get it? No, but I've been waiting since September for this one. Batman Hush is one of my favourite stories of all time, so this includes Heart of Hush, which is like the sequel to that, and I know that this crosses over at some points with the Grant Morrison run, so obviously I needed the two together, so I'm just glad that I've got this, and I'm hoping that this is as good as I'm hyping it up to be in my head. But speaking of DC books that have been really hard to get, I finally managed to get my hands on something that I've been waiting on forever. And by forever, I am being over dramatic, I just mean since September. But before I'm even going to show you what the book is, I am going to tell you the story of how I ended up getting it in the first place. This book was available on Forbidden Planet for months and months and months, but it was quite high, and I thought that if somewhere like Books etc was going to get it, then it might be the case that it's going to be a lot cheaper. So September came, the book was released, and I saw that only Forbidden Planet had it. October came, and it was nowhere in sight on Amazon or Books etc. November came, it was still available on Forbidden Planet, and a book that I was tempted attempted to buy it with also went out of stock, so at this point my hands were sweaty, we're talking mom's spaghetti, all things like that. And then December came and I realised that it might be finally time to bite the bullet. I added it to my basket, and then of course pretty much as soon as I clicked confirm, Books Etc. finally got the Green Arrow by Mike Grell Omnibus Volume 1 in stock. Yeah, typical sod's law that as soon as I bought it from somewhere else it becomes available for a much cheaper price. I was able to cancel the book from Forbidden Planet, so I am glad that Books Etc. did manage to get it at the exact time that they did, but they also had a bit of a palaver. They came in stock and I ordered it as soon as I saw it, then it went out of stock, and normally Books Etc. says that something's going to exported. If it is, it's finally going to ship. It came up again a few days later and those orders went to exported rather than pending, so I was then getting nervous that I thought if I would have brought this later I might have had more of a chance of actually getting it. So then when it showed up a third time on Books Etc. I made a safety order where I ordered it again, and then at that point this one finally shipped, so the first order from Books Etc. finally shipped. Luckily I managed to cancel it and I'm hoping that some other people managed to get it as well. I know that it pisses some people off when people do things like that, but with how long I've waited for this book I wasn't going to let it go out my sight. The other book that went out of stock from Forbidden Planet was the Legion 5 Years Later Omnibus. Still haven't been able to get my hands on that one. I'm hoping that in early 2021 the UK gets to see some of them, but still this whammy boy is finally in my collection. This actually came close to being the best value for money omnibus of the year. If you want to see that video, check it out right here, but I've honestly heard nothing but good things about it. This pretty much seems like a story that just happens to be about Green Arrow, so it's not really a superhero centric thing, it's just something that happens to have a character that also happens to be a superhero. It's kind of in the same way that Rocky is a film that happens to be about a boxer rather than boxing. So I love Rocky even though this has pretty much got nothing to do with it, but I am still hoping that this is going to be a great read. The next book that I got should be a surprise to pretty much nobody. I am from the UK, so of course I got my hands on the Excalibur Omnibus Volume 1. Again, this came into Books Etc. for a great price, so I'm really happy that I managed to pick it up. I also managed to cancel my Amazon pre-order, which was like £2 cheaper or something like that, but wasn't really worried about that kind of thing just to make sure that I got it in my collection. I'm hoping as well this means that we get Volume 2s and stuff like that. It's got Captain Britain on the front cover. How can I not want to pick this up? I'm also tempted to do a Who Is on Captain Britain because I feel like more people should know about him. But again, if that's something you want to see, leave it in the comments. This just seems as well like it's from the era of X-Men that was just great start to finish. Some people say that a few issues in this are a little bit of a dud, but admittedly, the fact that we are getting some UK love is enough for me to slam some money on the table and get this in the dog pound. And the last book that I brought for myself was the one that I was really worried that I wasn't going to get when all this pandemic stuff happened. Yeah, I know I didn't really have my priorities right during that time, but if you watch my most anticipated omnibuses of 2020, you will know that this is the one that I wanted more than any other. And of course, without further ado, I am talking about the Conan the Barbarian by Kurt Busiek Omnibus. Honestly, it just feels great to have this in my collection. I'm a massive Conan the Barbarian fan. I bought every Marvel omnibus that they've released so far, but it did look as if this was the one that was going to be difficult to get, and this cover was difficult to get at like retailers such as Forbidden Planet and in-stock trades. The other cover I just did not like as much as this one. This would have been the direct market variant. I probably would have pre-ordered it instead. I'm so happy that I've got this in my collection, and obviously I've got the Colossal Conan the Cimmerian, but besides the missing issues, I now pretty much have a complete Dark Horse reading order of Conan. So yeah, that was the last book that I brought myself. But then Christmas happened. My girlfriend, the Shadow Cat, the amazing woman that she is, surprised me to quite a few books that I'd wanted for such a long time. The first of which is one that I didn't have a clue what was happening with it, and that is Blade of the Immortal, the Deluxe Edition. The presentation quality on this is phenomenal. And I know I'm going to be hated for saying this, but it doesn't really bother me if they've changed the orientation of the reading because I haven't read this so far. I believe I did watch a few episodes of the series a few years ago, but obviously you know that I'm not a manga guy, so I wasn't really going to continue with that, was I? But these Dark Horse Deluxe Editions I've been collecting at least one a month, and it almost came at risk of that not happening, but because of the fact that she got me this, I've managed to keep that tradition alive. We've already got a volume 2 solicited, and I just hope that Dark Horse keeps up the pace that they've been having with these. Bring us Lone Wolf and Cub, bring us Gantz. There's so many other series that they can do. I wish whoever had the rights to Afro Samurai would just do some kind of complete hardcover edition of the 2 volumes of them, because they are really hard to get, and I really love Afro Samurai. Like, why does Afro Samurai get no love anymore? Like, Afro Samurai pretty much went from being the manga that even if people didn't like manga, they knew who Afro Samurai was. I was watching Afro Samurai before I even knew what anime was. I just watched it because it was cool, and yeah, it had that kind of awful PS3 game, but still, why does Afro Samurai get no love? Like, Afro Samurai is the equivalent of, yeah, I kind of went off topic there. But still, this is great presentation, and if you're wanting to pick this up, I'd recommend just doing it because of the fact that it's just such good quality. I even did start reading this, and I knew that I had to stop myself because of the fact that I was already enjoying it so much. I'm going to wait for the later volumes, but this feels like it's going to be something special to me. The next book that she got me for Christmas is one that she knew that I needed to round out my set, and that is the Wonder Woman by Phil Jimenez Omnibus. She also heard me talking about this in my Where to Start Wonder Woman, so, you know, maybe I am a good salesman after all. But this is the last modern age Wonder Woman omnibus that I needed, and it's by Phil Jimenez. I loved his art, I love where I've seen it in stuff like Infinite Crisis, and this just seems like a fun run beginning to end, so I'm really glad that I've got this. I have pretty much now got every Wonder Woman omnibus that's come out so far, so I'm just really glad that she saw that that was something that I needed, and she managed to pick it up for me. And she didn't stop there, because she knew my favourite DC character of all time was Nightwing. She managed to get me the Nightwing Prince of Gotham omnibus. This is New 52 era, which is a time that I was jumping into single issues, and I remember reading this when it was coming out. Some people don't like this series, but for me, it's Nightwing. He's got a cool red costume, and it's Kyle Higgins who wrote Power Rangers, so I enjoyed what I read back then, and I'm glad that we finally managed to collect it all in an omnibus, and I'm glad that she managed to pick it up for me. But the last book that she got me for Christmas was one that I could never predict coming. She's known that this is pretty much near the top of my white whales list, so the fact that she managed to get this to me without me even knowing is pretty incredible, because this one is big. This one is ginormous. The only word that you can really use to accurately describe it is, of course, colossal. Yep, she somehow managed to find me the Colossal King Conan, and yep, that now means that I've got the Colossal Conan the Cimmerian and the Colossal King Conan, so combined with the Kurt Busiek omnibus, besides those few missing issues that are in that first omnibus, I've pretty much got a complete run now. I didn't think I'd ever get this. I don't even know how she managed to get this. She must be doing some kind of secret drug deal without me knowing, because I know that this has skyrocketed in price, so I have absolutely no idea where exactly she managed to source this. But I'm really glad that she did. This pretty much topped off what was already quite an amazing Christmas, and it's also topped off what has been an amazing month for hauls, and also an amazing year when it comes to my comic book collecting. Boy, I'm going to have to put this down. It's really heavy and awkward to hold like that. So that's the video. That's everything that I brought in December and the last books that I brought of 2020. But before I say anything else, I'm going to talk to you about how you can enter the Mad Dog Comic Haul competition that we talked about at the beginning of the video. So if you want to showcase your haul, it doesn't matter if you've got one book or 100, as long as you're proud of the collection that you've got, all you need to do is take a good picture of it, try and get creative with it, put it in a nice layout, and of course, like we've seen from Zoom, put a dog in it if you can. But all that you need to do is make sure that you follow me on Instagram, make sure that you tag me in it at Mad Dog Comics, and make sure you use the hashtag Mad Dog Haul. That's with 2 Ds and 2 Gs. I know some people have been putting 1 D. The easiest way for me to find it is through the hashtag, so just make sure that you're spelling it correctly for me. But obviously, if you tag me in it, that does make it easier as well. Like I mentioned in the midpoint of this video, we've also got a Reddit page, which is r/MadDogComicCommunity. If you want to put your haul on there, that'd be great. It gives that sense of community feel, but just make sure that you put it with the Flair haul so that I can find it easy when I do the video next month. Well, that's the video, and I'm really happy with my haul for this month, and I'm hoping that you guys have managed to get some great books as well, whether it's been stuff that you've picked up for yourself, or maybe you got them as Christmas gifts. Let me know in the comments down below what was the book that you were most excited to get, and also feel free to send it in as part of the Mad Dog Comic Haul competition that we just spoke about. But I'm wishing everybody that's watching to this point a great 2021. There's so much going on behind the scenes that I don't even really know how to speak about yet, and hopefully this channel's just going to keep improving from there, and you guys are going to get better and better videos. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like this video, why did you get this far? Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, because obviously I'm coming out with new content all the time, and click the bell notification so that you never miss a video, because trust me, like I said, 2021 is going to be crazy on this channel. Share this video with your friends or any groups that you're in, because it does really help. Last time somebody shared one of my hauls in a Reddit post, and I think I got about 83% of all my external views from somebody doing that. So whoever did that for me, thank you. It was really appreciated. It was really helpful. And if you could do it again, that would also be great. Check out my social media links, and like I said, we've got our Reddit page, r/MadDogComicCommunity. And if you want to support the channel, it is greatly appreciated. I've got Amazon affiliate links down below. Feel free to check out some of my previous hauls and other videos, but that's all I've pretty much got to say for now, except for to stay safe, stay reading the best books that you can find, and stay mad all you dogs. Woof woof, see you at Whale Watch.